invited to speak at this TED conference, I asked, what do you want me to talk about? And the person who answered me said, well, you know, you're going to be the last speaker, so it would be really nice if you would help people activate the information that they've gotten. So this is your challenge and your charge. I call it the Change the World Challenge and charge, because you are important people. And the very first speaker said he realized the incredible power that he had. And you have that same power. You're important. Your work, your hands, your ideas, your dreams, they're important. The rest of the world is really just waiting to see what will come of your genius. There it is. When I was invited to speak at this conference, I asked Sophia, I said, what do you want me to talk about? And she said, I want you to give people a call to action. I want you to tell people how they can leave here with this information and change the world. But the reality is, I can't stop thinking about this funeral that I went to last week for a 34-year-old woman who was shot and killed 2 or 3 miles away from here, but an entirely different world from where we are at this place right now, considering the power of what we've all seen and heard. My mother died 42 days ago. My partner's father died 30 days before that. On Mother's Day at 5 a.m. in the morning, a man was shot and killed in the street out in front of my house, in front of a place that we created in our community called the Art House, where children can come and engage their own ideas, their own creativity, their own imagination. 39 days after this man was found murdered in the street out in front of the Art House, one of the children who goes to the Art House, their mother died. I am thinking right now about Randy Pausch and how in the face of death, some things become really, really simple. I'm thinking about the 2005 commencement speech that Steve Jobs gave, where with all of his power and know-how and influence, that entire speech came down to one phrase, and that phrase was, find something that you love. I'm thinking about how when Steve Jobs died, the newspapers reported his last words were, wow. Wow. And Sophia wants me to come here today and give you a call to action and tell you how to change the world. But the reality is, I actually believe that you already know how to change the world. That's why you're here. You probably listen to TEDx podcasts and you watch the videos. You're here because you already have an understanding about the power of your own ideas and sharing information and collaboration. You're here because some of you probably even understand that the universe is just made of stories. That's why you're here on a Sunday, to listen to Jess and Julie talk about her movie, to listen to Beth and Cameron and all of the rest of the speakers, because you already have somewhat of an understanding about the power of spark and proximity, how instantaneously ideas can ignite. If you get your idea close to a flame of inspiration, it can set a field on fire in an instant. You literally hold the know-how, the power to change the world in your hand. It's in your pocket right now. You already have it. Beth told us the world is smaller. We're more connected than we ever were before. Literally, with one touch of your fingers, you could communicate to 1 billion people. There are oceans of information, images, statistics, logistics. You can watch 1 million how-to videos, have breaking news, see 4 words, read about Ferguson, Mike Brown, see Trayvon Martin's bloodstained and bullet-shot hoodie right in your pocket. We have the know-how about how to change the world. You're working with it right now. I believe that's why so many of you are here, because you are ready to launch and move to the next step. But tomorrow surrounded by tides of sorrow. She said, depression really isn't just depression. She said, we're moving to a place where our brains are shifting and we are becoming chronically disordered. So we have the know-how, we have the power, we have the connection, we also have the disconnection. So our job right now is to contend with the matter of love and courage. Because when Steve Jobs gave this speech in 2005 to the graduating class of Stanford University, he believed, and I believe that he believed that we were all working with the same common living definition for love. In 1955, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech to grieved people in Alabama after the murder of Emmett Till. Emmett Till was killed for whistling at a white woman. He was shot 7 times. He was beaten to death, and then they tied his body to a 110-pound cotton gin van and put him in a river. Martin Luther King speaks to this audience of people who have every reason to rise up and hate, and he says to these people, there is a power in love that this world has not discovered yet. And historians and linguists the worldwide will tell you that any civilization with recorded history, with language recorded, has a way to say the exact same phrase. Love is the most powerful force in the world. There's a Native American saying that says, love is how I know my name. Love is change. Love is power. With the world moving faster and faster and faster, change is happening all the time. The question is not, how are you going to change the world? The question is, how will you make the future? And with what love and with what courage will you do this with? I am an artist, and I found that when I started actually sharing the things that I love, I was sharing love itself. So my question to you is, what are you working so hard for? Are you working hard to keep up with a world that is changing faster and faster and faster and faster and faster? What are you working so hard for? Why don't you stop working hard? Why don't you just stop, take a day off of work, take an afternoon off of work, stop doing so much. Make it your new pace and practice to do less. Do what could look to passerbys like absolutely nothing. There's an Oscar-winning director named Mike Nichols who says he gets his best work done when it looks like he's doing nothing. Take a walk someplace. Go someplace with nothing in your pocket except the house key, and the idea that this looking like you're doing nothing could be a critical next step in making the future. Because when you take that time away to go and walk and be just within the technology of your own soul, you will begin to make new connections. And when you get to this place, you'll begin to be able to define your love for yourself. Steve Jobs said, after this whole speech, this man who designed some of the most amazing objects and devices and technology that we crave, people will wait in line for 2 or 3 days to get the next new thing. His whole speech came down to find something that you love, because you're going to work a long time in your life. And if you're lucky, you'll have love and work. So what I would say to you today, love many things. Stop working so hard and start falling in love more. Fall in love with anything. Fall in love with Julie Sokolow's film, Aspie Seek Loves. Start a film festival at Ellis because you loved it so much. Fall in love with coral reefs. Fall in love with the idea that your love can be your protest. The way Sebastian's love for his friends and love for New York joined together to actually change his friends' lives. Let your love make the future. Let your love be the force that heals the disconnect that exists between all of us. I love art. I started making art on my front porch. Kids in my neighborhood would come up to me and they would say, Miss Vanessa, we want to do what you do. And I would say, you can't do what I'm doing. You can't jump my fence. But because they saw that I was doing what I loved, they wanted to do some of it too. So what I say to you is, you have to be more courageous. You actually have to be more loving. Because the reality is, there are a lot of people who are not in this room who could take these words and this information and be inspired by it, but they're not here. You're here. So take what you love from here and share it in unsuspecting places. Take what you love from this day and be more courageous with it. Otherwise, this is just another Sunday in an auditorium with some snacks outside. This is just another day. And the truth is, that's a lie. That any day is just another day. This is your day. This is the day that you prayed for. This is the day that you have been waiting for. And the reality is, we need what you have to give us. And we need your love. And we need you to speak your love aloud. We have so much technology around us, but now it is your job, millennials, to speak up for the technology of your soul. So trust your instincts. Go to the inside of the inside of the inside of the question. When you find something that you love, do what Albert Einstein said and become passionately curious. And then tell people about